Hello and welcome, family. Thank you for joining me. I have been, hello, thanks for joining. I'm going to give it a moment and let some people load in. And just going to send some healing, some love, some frequencies, just filling this space up with acceptance and understanding, with some smiles, with some heart energy. Woo! Just sending that out, right? Prepping everybody for some love bombs, some truth bombs. Well, my truth, not everybody's. So, hi, thank you for joining. Hey, thanks for joining, everybody. All right, so today is my anniversary. And I've been really busy, but I do want to show you the beautiful, beautiful flowers that I got. So pretty. I'm excited. But I've been really busy today with just tons of freaking insights. Beautiful morning with my sisters at our celestial sisterhood circles. All online, of course. But anyways, I've had some really great revelations happen, some insights over the last 2 weeks. And you know, it's just progressively coming through, and now I'm more integrated in what it is specifically that I wanted to express. Now, keep in mind that the world that we live in, okay, this world that's around us, is a holographic reality, right? So, yes, it seems like it's physical, but we all understand, hopefully those that are following my channel are at this level of deeper understanding that everything is sound and light and frequency, right? Everything's frequency and vibration. So, just in a different form, right? And some of it takes form in the dense matter, right? But it's still based off of our perception, right? Which is based off of our chemicals that we create in the body, okay? That create the holographic projection that we see in this reality, all right? So it means that your emotions, okay, they create that energetic charge that fuels the chemicals within the body, or the hormones, okay? That's why I keep pointing to the throat, your hormones, your thyroid. Okay, the parathyroid, right? And so that is how we get the chemicals going, right? So the emotions, right? That emotional trigger, right? That's why it's called looshing. Looshing is, you know, your human emotions, right? So the story, right? The telenovela, the story is what we attach to, which are the beliefs, the morals, the foundations, the creations of our reality, or what we perceive to be reality. Okay. It's all a holographic projection, okay, of what is happening on the internal realms of the body. I don't know how to explain that anymore, because everything that we see outside is happening inside, okay? Now, on a larger, grander scale, with the collective conscious and collective unconscious, where that's stemming from is from the shadow frequencies that have not been seen, have not been loved, have not been held, have not been acknowledged, they have been abandoned, they have been pushed away, right? And so that's where we get the unconscious collective. But as more people work on their shadow frequencies, then those, the fear frequencies, right, as we awaken, as more of us awaken, and we start healing these things that we've pushed away, pushed aside, these emotions, right? These experiences that created that emotion, right? As we allow and love those emotions back to wholeness, right? Just back into our wholeness. We integrate the dark and the night, okay? The dark and the light, right, into the body, right? Then it eases up and more people awaken, okay? Which allows for more of those shadow frequencies to be released and to be loved and then be sent back into the light, which is your heart, okay, or the other person's heart, right? And so that's the collective consciousness field, the unconscious field, and then there's the collective conscious field. Now, where people are getting stuck is they're not doing the work. They're getting stuck in the stories, in the his story and the her story and the alien story and then the elemental story and then the personal story and then, you know, the ancestral story. It's all getting lost in thought. It's all getting lost in the story, right? The never-ending story, okay? Until it's not. Until it becomes known, right? Until we stop paying so much attention to the stories of our lives. Not our lives, of our lives, okay? Of the karma, of the experiences, the energetic experiences that we incarnated to have, okay? And that's where we're at the end of the line, right? That's why God's going to walk the earth for 1,000 years in the Garden of Eden, and all is going to be well, and it's going to be the golden age, right? It's not the golden AI age either, which is artificial intelligence, right? Which is the external world, right? TVs, devices, cellular devices, computers, microchips, right? All of that is external. It's not from within here, it's from outside, right? We manifested it into creation, okay? So we brought it from within here, thought, emotion, creation, okay? So we've brought these into the reality, but that's the artificial intelligence, meaning it's of our intelligence, but it's of the artificial, right? It's of the holographic reality. Why is this so important? Why the story is what we came to create. We are creators. We are ultimate creators having an experience. Okay? And when we're living in these realms, okay, we're living in these internal deity planes, right? The Delvic realms, the deity realms, living with source, right? Living in the seed of our soul, not the seat, not the SEAT, not sitting on your ass on your soul. No, the seed of your soul, right here in your Azura or your thymus, right? This is where the seed of your soul is at, okay? And as divine creators that we were, there one with source, we chose to incarnate, take on flesh, which means we had to descend our consciousness. Well, what do you mean we had to descend our consciousness? That means we had to fall, right? The whole story of Sophia and the fall, right? Or man falling, right? The fall of man, okay? So we had to descend consciousness. That means that we left the eternal planes, the eternal first field of intelligence, if you will, the FE field. So we left this intelligence, our God source, and we're like, we're going to incarnate, and we're going to make manifest, we're going to live above, we're going to incarnate into the flesh, into matter, into the lowest density, okay, identity, the lowest density matter that the physical flesh could live, right? And then on top of that, we were going to have stories. We were going to create a beautiful, never-ending story, essentially, okay? And so when we took it upon ourselves as creators to come here to incarnate into the flesh, we incarnated into the lowest density, all right? That means that we incarnated first with as much information as we had, okay? We came into this world and we lived like gods and creator gods, like Krishna, Vishnu, Shiva, all of these beautiful titans, the Greeks, you know, the Greek titans, and all these gods and goddesses, right? We all incarnated here with all of our knowledge, all of our wisdom, right? Divine wisdom. And as we had planned, what it was is that we were going to start descending in consciousness, okay? So we started to lose consciousness. That means we started to eat ourselves, basically. But in order for that to happen, just like internally we have internal mechanics, we have external mechanics. And that's where the golden mean ratio comes from. the golden mean ratio, the golden mean, right? The Fibonacci spiral, Metatron's cube, Metatron spiral. You take all of the stories out. Don't care about the stories. There's all kinds of stories, okay? All kinds of them. Telephone like crazy, all right? There's all these beautiful stories, but nonetheless, that Metatron is the external creation. It is external creation mechanics because it is a biveka. That means it's like the Ouroboros. It's a snake that eats its own tail. It's going to eat itself. It's going to consume itself. Like we did. We came here with all-knowing information and we started to consume ourselves, okay? Because of the mathematical program that we put into the system known as the Metatronic system, okay? Or the Fibonacci sequence or the golden ratio. These are external mechanics, okay? So, when we introduced the external mechanics is whenever we really started to descend our consciousness, okay? Because we lived here and we experienced all the beauty that ever was and ever will be, but we are creators and we wanted to experience ourselves as non-creators. And I know that there's a ton of stories that go behind this, and I get it. I'm going to get to that. Just bear with me, okay, guys? So, we descended our consciousness through the golden ratio. It is a biveka. It eats off of itself. It eats itself. It's like one arm, no arms. And they're running around with no arms, okay? We started eating ourselves. We started warring with ourselves. We started fighting among each other, right? And not co-creating because we were so... What we were doing is we were pushing ourselves as far away from our source, consciousness, as possible. We are pushing it away, pushing it away, and pushing it away. That is the art of descending consciousness. Now, to ascend consciousness, we had to start re-braiding it. That means we needed to start sitting with the self, right? And having these moments of clarity, of cognition, of intuition, okay? And re-stranding the forms of consciousness, okay? So this is where we start. We have the mechanics that Ashiana Dean or Yasha or Diana had brought through, which are known as the Guardian Alliance teachings. These are internal mechanic teachings, okay? No matter what, the light body or you're talking about the plasma body, Yasha or the Guardian Alliance has brought through the teachings that tell you about creator mechanics. Proper external creator mechanics and proper internal creator mechanics, okay? Regardless of all the stories that are in between, which is beautiful too, okay? So, here's how the yugas, the Kali yugas, are talked about in the history, okay? Kali yugas, it's supposed to be in the Kali Yuga according to India, but I don't listen to them because they still sell their daughters off to men that they don't really love. So honestly, if you're still selling women out to who they don't love, right? Then you're not honoring the feminine principle, and you're not honoring the balance of yin and yang or masculine and feminine, and therefore you're not in harmony. And I'm not going to listen to what you got to say. No offense, but you know. It is what it is. That's my personal perspective. Take it or leave it. Okay? You're selling out the feminine, you're selling out the spirit. That's all there is. Alright, so the Kali Yugas, what happened was, what it says is the Kali Yuga is 243,000 years long. But they didn't calculate the drift of the river and how many times the river shifted. Okay, like I said, I'm not going to deal with, I have a book, it's called The Sages, Gods, and Kings. And it's all about the Vedic. There's a beautiful man that pulled his purpose, and everybody has purpose, and everybody has passion, everybody has reason for being here. And he did, and I read that book, and it was absolutely phenomenal and resonated deeply. Which is recently came back up in my... All this stuff just keeps coming back up for me I synthesize. That's what I do. I synthesize all of this information, okay? Alright, so anyways, 243,000 years is the Kali Yuga. They say we're 5,000 years in. No, we're not. We're out. We're on the up and up, out of and into the golden age. Now, 270,000 years ago was the last time we had the sack which was the stellar activation cycle, fully open and operable here on the planet. And that was when we went into the Kali Yuga, okay? A long time ago. But we had our consciousness, okay? The stellar activation cycle is what SAC means, okay? And it's the longest one that they've ever had, right? The longest that they've ever had the stargates closed. It was the Kali Yuga. It was the dark times. It was when humanity was going to fall. The gods were going to fall. Humanity was going to fall. And we were going to rewrite it all, okay? To go back into God's source. So we had to have our time here, creation, like everything played out, and then we went into the fall timelines, which is when we introduced the that's the Metatronic. It's a program. Everything is a program. It's a giant biological computer, as you are a giant biological computer. The planet is as well. All the stars and shit that you see outside of here are not outside. They are internal. They are an aspect of the planet itself. Okay, there are realms. They're called Shambhala, Agartha, and Asgard, and all kinds of other ways to define this. Okay, and in the Guardian Alliance teachings, they're known as the inner earth, right? And it's known as their war host, the Alhambra, the deity planes. Okay, is what it's really referred to. Overall is the deity planes, okay? But within that, like Yasha said, there's multiple timelines. There's multiple beings of existence. There's multiple, there's billions of microorganisms, okay? That all come from the internal planes. Everything starts out as a microorganism, right? That's how we start building the form, okay? Neither here nor there. So all these internal planes, we are going back inward. We are dealing with the internal planes. The seed of your soul is within you and has been within you the whole time. All is darkness except for the one speck of light, right? That's what we're experiencing here as ultimate creators, as ultimate creator gods. Because that's what we are. That's what we're ultimate creator gods. Okay? And so the storylines that are all brought through, well, my side, my story, the good aliens, the bad aliens, I'm going to tell you this right now. There's good and bad in everything, but it's all a story. Just like your soap operas. All my children, all of these telenovelas and soap operas, all these TV shows, all of this is a story, except for the TV that we see is artificial intelligence, right? Because the television's telling us lies. Televisions tell lies through visions, okay? So it's artificial intelligence telling you lies, okay? So that you believe your own lies, because this is what we've casted ourselves into, so that you would be forced to go back and sit with yourself, yourselves. And you can celebrate, right? Cell liberation. Thank you to a girlfriend of mine, Candace, Love Essence, by the way, her little play on words. Celebration is cell liberation, okay? So as we sit with the seed of our soul, we sit with our source self, right? We're in celebration and joy of life because we're cellular liberating, okay? So from the artificial intelligence that we see all around us, based on our alchemical reaction, okay, that creates the reality, okay? It's like your personality creates your personal reality, okay? And it does. But the reason why we're taking these emotional charges out, okay, why we're taking away from the stories, not to say that there isn't truth. There's always some fundamental understanding to when people bring information forward. But when it comes with stories, what it's doing is it is emotionally inclining you, okay, charging you up so that you would dive deeper, okay? But problem is we get so convicted in our intolerance, okay, which is our mind trying to justify right or wrong. Well, I have this emotion, I had that experience, and therefore I can tell you A, B, and C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P why here's the logic, here's the proof that I have manifested into my reality as a creator God, okay? I have manifested this into my reality to have this experience. And here's all the proof that I had. We call that synchronicity, okay? Here's all my proof of why I'm right and why I'm justified in being right, okay? But the thing with the mind is it can do the same. It can disqualify everything, right? That's the mind's ability, is to seek the answers and bring them back, right? So that you can be justified in why you're feeling the way you feel, okay? Why you created what you created. So the mind's job is to not make the decision. It's not. That's the gut's job and the heart's job, okay? The gut says, uh-huh or uh-uh. It doesn't say, maybe. No, it doesn't. It's uh-huh or uh-uh. The maybe means no, and you just don't know how to say that. That's all that it means, okay? Uh-huh or uh-uh. Yes or no. The heart's job is that in alignment? Is that in alignment with me, right? Yes. Okay. And then the brain takes the chemicals from the uh-huh or uh-uh, and is it in alignment? Yes. And then it says, okay, I hear you guys, let's go. But if you have and then the mind goes and creates. It plays. That's all it wants to do is play, right? Whether it's, I'm going to play war, and I'm the badass Marine going to come in, and I'm a G.I. Joe, and I'm going to knock you down. Bang, bang, bang. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 right? We're children. We're God's children. We're innocent, right? So we're creating. That's the mind's job, is to communicate and to create, to play, right? And so whenever the emotions are twisted, right, because of the story, right, or the trigger or the belief system, because that's where it belongs, is the belief system, right? That's right or that's wrong, right? That emotion gets triggered, and it creates that chemical reaction in the body, right? Which we're told to not react, to emotionally react, we're told to respond, okay? And sometimes responding can just be in stillness. And, okay, let it go. Let it go. But most people aren't there yet. They're lost in the story. They're lost in the emotion. They're lost in the energetic charge. And a lot of people have parasites in their stomach, right? So their gut doesn't know if it's good or bad, if it's right or wrong for them, the uh-huh or uh-uh, if it's yes or no, right? Because they're fighting the parasites for the appropriate signals to go to the heart, to go to the brain. And most people's hearts aren't even open because they're so closed down because they're in fear. So you just get the, I don't know, maybe. You get the maybe worm. You get the maybe signal that goes to the brain and says, maybe that's right. Well, I can justify it because I can feel it. And that's the reality that we have. That's the reality that they've created for themselves, and that's the reality we created on a large scale. All right, back to the Kali Yugas. When we fell, we came up here as creator gods, and we installed the code, the self-eating code of the Metatron, okay, sequence, or the golden ratio. We put that into the sphere, okay, into the computer, the main hard drive, and we said, okay, now run this so that we start pulling away from our source and forgetting who we are. It's the ultimate challenge. It's the ultimate challenge, is to come back into yourself, to come back into your God source seed. But you can't do that when you're so far away and you're caught up in stories, right, that don't even belong to you. I don't remember shit from the Gaian-Orion Wars. I don't remember shit. But when I see the videos of all that stuff happening, I'm like, oh my God, like I can feel it. I can feel the pain. I can feel like the anguish. I can feel the disturbance in that, right? I can feel that discrepancy. I don't have memory of it, but I can feel for it. I can have empathy for it. Just like a tuning fork has empathy for another tuning fork of the same frequency. It's sympathetic resonance. Okay? It's called sympathetic resonance, and that's what they use in movies. Like a girl getting raped, right? Oh my God, I can feel for her, right? If you've been raped, you're like, oh my God, I can feel for you. Like that's just, oh my God, right? It's a sympathetic resonance. It's what AI works on. Sympathetic resonance, stories, emotions, looshing, right? Now, Yasha's material came forward with the eternal or internal creation mechanics, and started in 2008, right when we were gearing up for the 2012, right? Which 2008 is whenever they had to have a standstill. They waited. This is when Lisa Renee woke up, right? And came through with her light body mechanics, just like Iyasha's, right? Okay, so Iyasha was explaining proper external mechanics, how it would work if it was in a resonant reality, one that was of harmonics and balance, right? Like this is how the light, it's 12 spheres and a 15-dimensional time matrix, and like, come on, people. So that's where she came out with the light body. She was trying to explain it, and she was explaining the story and how it happened. You don't have to look at the aliens as like some external force field coming in and annihilating humanity. That's one way to perceive it. You can also just look at them as a virus coming into the computer system to attack. And it was all pre-programmed, right? We have hackers. We have pre-programming that comes in, right? Just like the material that she came out with in 2009, right? That are about the Trua body or the plasma body and the internal mechanics, okay? Which talk about specifically internal creator mechanics, all right? And how that works based off of the light spectrum, the sound and visual light spectrum, okay? And how the waves and the subsonic waves and subband waves and all of that work, right? Because whenever we're talking about a body, what do we have? Subtle bodies. We have external waves of light, the red light, right? That's right above here, right? Just like the planet has a subtle body external, it also has a subtle body internal, just like the core, the crust, and the mantle layers, and the lava layers, and all these layers that are within the iron layers, and the crystal layers, and all these layers that are within the planet itself. All these layers that have physical manifestation are only a physical manifestation because we see them as a physical manifestation. They're actually a sound manifestation and a light manifestation. And so that's what the new teachings, the Guardian Alliance teachings, Ashiana Dean's teachings, are about, the light sound frequency, and then how it plays out with the Triveka, which is the Trinity, okay, which is the full system, which is a system that feeds itself and creates from itself, okay? So it's an infinite system, okay? It's forever creating. It's not a finite system where it's just the two loops, like a Vesica Pisces, all right? Now, the storylines. Now, I know that she goes in and has all this talk about celestial wars, and people have had these dreams and these resonances. Anything that is external happens internally first. Same with the planet. It is a virus. That is it. Okay? In your body, when you're in disease, you're in dis-ease. There's disharmony, disharmonics within the body. So you start creating viruses, disease cells that start taking over the lungs, cancer, and leukemia, and breast cancer, the boobs. Like, I'm lost touch with my femininity, and whatever, my voice, my presence, whatever it is, my butthole, because I have colon cancer, or whatever the fuck it is. Like, no offense to whoever's had that, but, however that manifests, like, however it manifests, it's dis-ease in the body, right? Based on an emotional dissonance. It's the same with the viruses and the aliens, okay? The AI, artificial intelligence, the same shit. They are a virus in the computer system. Now, how are they physically manifesting for you? I don't know. It's based on your algorithms. What are your algorithms? I don't project people, beings, like physical manifestation, even though all of my experiences are physical. I've had one physical manifestation with a being that was like a Anunnaki reptilian being, okay, in my backyard. And I was in my backyard in California, and it was like a 14-foot being that had manifested next to me, okay? But I had just came out of my third dimensional awakening. I had just had my awakening. So I was still influenced, okay, by the lower vibration. And it's fine that things pop up in physical manifestation for you. I'm not saying they're not going to, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. It's based on your algorithms. I have changed my algorithms since then. Things like that don't show up in my reality anymore because I have worked on my cellular body. I have worked in the harmonics of the DNA in my body. I have worked through shadows, okay? And I have called more light. I have let go of the carbon-based fear programming, okay? I have let go of a lot of that, and I live in a lot more light, and therefore I don't have lower density manifestation. So those experiences with these beings, right? It's because of the way that the genetics are coded within your body. Okay? Do you have it in a physical? Do you have it in astral? Do you have it in the mental? Astral being like the soul realm. Do you have it in the mental, the mind? Are they mind fucking you? Or the mind raping you? Or the mind swiping you, right? Like, that's, you know, is it in the causal, right? Is it in your heart? Do you have a heart broken all the time? Are you empathically feeling the world's heartbreak? Like, where is it happening for you? In the Buddhic state? Are you embodying it, right? And then the atomic. Do you have the etheric aspect, understanding of it, right? Experience of it in the ethers, right? So there's different ways that we're all coded to experience this, right? Okay, now you get that. Okay. So, as this goes, the story. Now, there's a story, and it's to grab the person's attention. Because it's the story that fuels that emotion. Okay? And it brings life to it. It brings, like, what we call the human aspect to it. It brings the humanism in it. You mentioned in the past. Yeah, the Gene Key book. It's only as good as you, Gene Keys are only as magical as you allow yourself to experience it, by the way. There's people that have been on it, been using it for 7, 8, 9, 10 years, I think. And they're not there, you know. But everybody's soul is different, though, too. You know, we're all programmed to do different things. Now, Iyasha's came to bring another part to the story, right? She was like, everybody out here were like, oh, the Sumerian gods, the Anunnaki gods, like, you know, Anunnaki, the Sumerian gods, like the same thing, right? Ish. So they were all about, that's all we had, that's all the information we have left, that's all we know, right, on the planet. That's all, everything leads back, those common threads. Those are the common threads that we have, except there's more. Where'd they come from? Right. We didn't know where the hell they came from, the heavens. The Hopi said they came from the heavens. Where, right? We didn't have that information. So what did we need to complete the story? The duality of it. The duality. So we needed Yasha, the Guardian Alliance message, because it challenged, it brought the next chapter to the duality, right? How dare you challenge the Anunnaki, the Sumerian gods in Thoth, the be-all, end-all? How dare thy challenge the Metatron? How dare you challenge the golden ratio? That's all that we know. That works out perfectly with everything. That must be it. Or not. Or not. Right? Or not. Because we had to have a challenge. Right? We had to have, but James and the Giant Peach, we had to have, we had to challenge the giant, okay? We had to challenge the giant, right? Because we had to put it in its place. Because there's not one way. There's not one reason, and there's not one way. There's not an end-all, be-all, okay? Well, there is an end-all, be-all. The ultimate truth is source within. But source, it doesn't, this is an experience. This is an experience. Your source experiencing itself. There is no right and there is no wrong. But in the general topic of this whole epic telenovela or great drama, right? We call it genetic mutation, this great change, the genetic mutation. We're really just turning on our dormant cellular memory, our dormant cells, so that we can have full memory, cognition, and awareness of our source self again, okay? So Iyasha comes through to be like, no, the creator gods, and here's why. Here's more to the story. Here's some backstory, right? But does it actually exist outside? Does it actually exist outside? No, it doesn't. It's all internal. It's all internal. It's not outside. Andromeda is not an external planet outside of this fucking... Yes, we see it as an external universe, but it's within. You are the multiverse. You are multidimensional, and you are the multiverse within you. Okay? All planets, all solar systems, all black holes, everything exists within you. You. Okay? All of it. You are the giant operating computer telling everything what's happening. Now, Iyasha's message, or the Guardian Alliance message, was to trigger the memories that you couldn't remember, right? So that the Anunnaki gods, right, that all the history, his story, right? Not just his and hers, it's only his story is being told. So her story had to come forward, right? Her truth had to be heard so that it would bring a parallel or a duality to it, okay? To the expression of what we're experiencing, okay? And so it challenges everything and it makes you go inward, right? And the messages about the rape, about the interbreeding, the hybridization, and all the war, and pushing away from source, and the fall, and the break, and the drama, right? I don't really care about people's personal opinion about this. This is where I'm coming from. So take it or leave it, okay? And so this is just the story so that you can be engaged. Nobody wants to read a boring book. Nobody's going to read a boring book. Everybody's going to read a book that says the world's wrong and here's why. Okay? Everybody's going to read that book. And if they don't, they're going to hear about somebody that did read that book, and that person that read that book is going to be super engaged, and they're going to be passionate, and they're going to be emotionally charged because they've been duped, swindled, and mentally brainwashed, right? To believe otherwise. So they want revenge, right? They want vendetta. They want to make a change. They want, like me, especially me, whenever I got into this, I was like, how could they? How dare they? I was charged. I was passionate. I was putting the word out like the white Jesus, you know? Hey, you're not gonna go to the heaven with the white Jesus if you don't believe everything that's in this book because you just don't know Jesus. Just like that, okay? It's the same shit, just a different person, all right? So it's the same thing. You're not going to not go to heaven because you don't know what's in that book. You're not going to go to heaven because you don't have your faith in alignment to the Christos or to the Christ spiral. You're not going to go to heaven because you're not in heaven with yourself. You're not in the Holy of Holies, which is with your source self. There is no external book. There is no external experience that is going to get you any closer to your God seed source self than going inward and sitting with everything that you experience and processing it and say, what does this mean? What is my ultimate truth? What is the pure truth? Not what can the mind logically justify, because it can logically justify right and wrong. And it can back it up tenfold. Look at the law. Right? Look at the law. We see this all the time. Common people didn't do anything wrong, but by the law, they had all the proof to back up that they did. So they got sent to jail, even though they didn't actually do anything wrong. Okay? And then they spend 7 years in jail and all this time accumulating all their work to say that they're right. They submit it and they get released. And everything gets dropped. But that's their experience. That's what I'm saying. You can prove the ladder. Both sides of the ladder. The DNA and the RNA. Okay? But that's not the point of this. Ascension and dissension of consciousness. The point of it is to ascend back here. Ascension. Back into your source. The stories are to ignite that passion to dig deeper. That's why when we come across the Guardian Alliance, we're like, holy shit, where's this been all my life? I need to learn it all now. because I've been learning everything else for my whole life, right? So I need this information now. But why didn't this information come up before, eons ago? It didn't. It did come through esoterics, but not through the form of the Guardian Alliance. It came through the form of, deja qual, you know, esoteric monks, okay? People that sit, me, even in other lives, you in other lives, people that sit with themselves, right? And understand the truth of it. The truth that this all is an illusion. It's just your emotion that creates the reality, right? Your emotion creates your emotional reality, your energy in motion, okay? The reality around you. So the stories are to activate you, to release the war, the trauma that is stuck in the genetics, right? Because nobody wants to know that we were raped and, you know, thrown to lions, and nobody wants to revisit seeing the slaves thrown on a ship and whipped and beaten. Nobody wants to see that, but we see that so that we can have that sympathetic resonance and we can let it go and be like, oh my God, I'm so grateful for where I am right now. I'm so grateful for those experiences. I love those lives. I love where I am right now, and I send love. Like, you just get pulled into this, like, I'm gonna love it to wholeness, right? Or if you're not there yet, you get pulled into those mother bleeps and eek and eek and whatever other clicks that you want to throw out because you're triggered, right? Because instead of feeling it to heal it, you're trying to push it away. Blame. Shame. Oh, if those aliens wouldn't have came, it wasn't the aliens. It has nothing to do with an external source. It was an experience that had to be experienced. That's it. And the virus was in their head and in the energetic fields. Okay? However you want to perceive it, aliens or not aliens, I'm not saying that they don't exist. I'm not saying that we didn't physically bring them into manifestation. I'm not saying we don't. I'm not saying we don't. It's just not everybody's experience. And when they try to introduce things like this on the world stage, there's artificial intelligence here, guys. We're living in a living computer system, but it's a virus. It's a self-eating virus, okay? And we're coming to the end of it. So there's levels of awareness that you need to have when it comes to not getting so attached to the story. You can see the story and what it's trying to teach you. I'm not saying that the names don't exist. I'm not saying that there isn't resonance, right? I'm not saying what Iyasha says is wrong. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it comes through, people have their own filters. Everybody has their own filters. Everybody has their own set of filters, okay? Their own beer goggles. Okay, and or projected lenses, whatever you want to look at it. Okay, everybody has their own filter. Just like whenever I say something, it's coming through my filter of awareness. Okay, whenever I get a message, we could all have the same. There is the same message in the ethers at all times. We just all pull it down differently, right? Because we're all coded, encoded, encrypted differently. Okay. Everyone sees things differently, right. So we'll get back beyond all that. So Iyasha has her resonance, just like other teachers have their resonance. And when people are anchored into the Metatron or the we're the 5D archetypes, and we're gonna take this new world and we're gonna go to 5D in a new universe and creating new Earth and it's external. Then that's their journey. They're the souls or aspects of a larger consciousness, okay? Aspects of a larger consciousness that still need to find their source light, right? And so they're going to take that trip on a little rocket ship shooting through the sky. Little Einsteins, because they're all in their minds. They're little Einsteins. They're not in their heart, right? Right? So they're taking the ship apart, right? And they're trying to find instead of just going within, right? So they're going to take their little rocket ships and they're going to take their energy and they're going to go into another dimension. Like it talks about the Hopi, the split. There's going to be those that ascend in consciousness, and those are going to continue to descend in consciousness until they can find their source. And Yasha calls this the step back process, where they turn to dust. I don't give a damn. I don't know if I've even turned to dust. I might have. I don't know how long I've been alive as a soul. Zillions, gazillions. I can never come up with an answer. A very long time, right? And so I don't get stuck on the number, because nothing is linear anyways. It's only linear because we're in a dense form, and we have to experience it, the wave, right? The frequency, in a slow wave, instead of like instantaneous, where we get to the fifth dimensional frequency, where it's instantaneous manifestation. Okay, so it's not high frequency, it's a low ride. So everything's slow in a low ride. You don't see no gambinos, little papitos, right, rolling in their drop desk hydraulic junto cars, like, ay, mucho, oi, oi, oi. They don't see them gearing up to go flying down the runway. You know what I'm saying? They're low and slow, right? Low and slow. And that's the idea of being in density, okay? Being in form, until we lighten up and we throw in some of the shocks, and the car goes joot, 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 joot. And then they can go through some bumps, okay? And then they can go down the road and be like, hey, ohms. I grew up in a little tiny Spanish town, or it was a mix, but it's predominantly Hispanic town in Southern California. Good old Blythe. And you know, the highlight of this is the highlight of our Christmas parade is literally all the chuntos and the vatos or whatever, the homes, like rolling down in their cars and going beep 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 with Christmas lights everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, that's, look at you, boo, you're hopped on here. Alicia knows what I'm talking about, right? That's like the highlight of our town Christmas parade, was the little vato cars. Okay. So anyways, when we get a little higher in frequency, the highlight of life. So, like, when we get higher in frequencies, then we're rolling higher, right? We're going faster, we're moving smoother, and things are coming at us quicker, okay? So it's instant manifestation. Now, Yasha's material, again, like I said, the new teachings are all internal planes. It's all about creator mechanics. Take it as you will. It is basically about light, and then how the frequency manifests through the membranes, okay? Everything's cellular, so it's the membranes, but it's perceived here as the pancaletta, the panclare, and the pancaletta, pancletta, pancalera, and then the pancaletta, right? But these are the membranes, and that's the Trinity. That's the Trinity, okay? And that's how it forms. Two cells come together, right? One cell, right? And then from one cell, okay, from the spark, divine spark, comes another cell. And then from that cell, right, comes another cell, right? And that's how it continues, that cellular division continues to create, right? And that's what it's talking about. But it's just talking about the original three, okay? It's not getting into, like, all of the layers that are in between that. And I mean, it does eventually when you get further into the K to DL2 teachings. But do you need to know all that? No, you don't. Because your genetics, if you're in alignment for this great mutation, the genetic mutation, then it's going to happen innately. And you're going to be guided to everything that's going to guide you there. That's going to give you the motivation, okay, or the energetic charge, or the emotional resonance to the material to dive deeper, and then to sit and contemplate and say, what does this mean for me? Why is this showing up in my reality? Like, I had to sit a lot with the Guardian teachings. I'm like, I don't have shit for memories of off-planet anything, but yet I resonate with all of it. I understand where it's coming from, and it's hitting home with me on so many levels. So what does it mean to me, right? If I relate to the honest consciousness, I'm wide open, right? I'm balanced. I'm also in Gene Keys and astrology and human design, and I'm all over the place, and I've like all of this shit. Oh, does it mean that I'm an uncentered person and I don't know what I'm doing and I don't have a place and I need to kill myself and go in hell? No, that's not what it means. It means that you're a multidimensional being walking in a multidimensional world, okay? With multiple universes simultaneously existing in this now one moment. This is why it's so important. The now moment is so important because all universes, all timelines, everything is existing right now. And we are in that merge period where the masculine and the feminine come together to create, okay? And so we're in the seed. We're in the seed spectrum, light spectrum. We're in the seed spectrum of creation right now, okay? And so what does that mean, Carrie? That means that you have the opportunity to move within universes and realms, realities, timelines, and dimensions, okay? By activating your light, by releasing the emotional attachment to all of the stories. It doesn't matter if they happened or didn't happen. It matters how you react to them or respond more so, okay? With engaged non-attachment, which is called at-one-ment, which actually means at one moment, right now, at one moment, right now, always right now. So what do you feel at this right now moment? Did it happen? With NLP, which is the neurological linguistics programming, it's how you reprogram your mind, right? They always tell you how to reprogram because the subconscious holds on to a memory. Okay, and it keeps looping and looping and looping and looping, and all these AI movies and experiences that we have dropped into our reality, they create emotional triggers to this, okay? And so it triggers a subconscious programming that you got in the ages of 0 to 7. Technically, you got in the womb of your mother, but it experienced it within the first 7 years of your life, and then intensified through other ways in the next two life cycles. Okay, so anyways, beyond all that, so these emotional reactions, okay, that's what you're having to let go of, are the emotional reactions to the stories. And it's to see what the stories are telling you. Like when we watch movies now and we're awake, we're like, yo, Little Mermaid, she knew what was up, man. She just wanted to walk, she wanted to dance, she wanted to be a part of this world. It was speaking to us, right? We're like, oh my God, the movie's speaking to us. But it's not literal, right? Not literally, and but it's speaking to us, right? We didn't all give our voices to Ursula, but did we? Because the voice is actually the scalar wave that kills the disease. That's why they say to command your sovereignty. I am sovereign, I am free, I am God, I am me. I am that I am. I sing, oh, light language, I'm celestial. You're a celestial being. Light language, it's sound. Scalar waves, how do we kill disease? Scalar waves, sound technology, right? The 3 tones anchored into each other, and it annihilates the disease, the leukemia out of the body. They point the frequencies in, and it kills all the bacteria, all the disease cells, right? It just annihilates them. Your voice, you gave your voice away, okay? You gave your power away. Your voice is your power. Your voice heals your body. You got sickness, you got illness in your body, start singing. I don't care if you sound like a squawking duck. That is the sound that is going to heal your body. Okay, and if you come into resonance with somebody else's light language that does a little tickle for you, heals you, it's because their light helps heal your light. You're part of the same monad fractal, okay, core fractal, soul consciousness, oversoul consciousness, Yana's consciousness, however you want to talk about it. Y'all share a bubble of frequency, okay? It's simple. It's a simple shit. It's only complicated when we add a whole bunch of mind. Because we're little Einsteins, all in the minds, okay? So it's only complicated when we add the mind to it. If we just take all of that out of it, and we just let the mind communicate and play, and we come from our gut and we come from our heart, then we live and we open those worlds within us, and then that manifests into this reality, because we are the ants, like the Hopi said, the ant people. Okay, like the ants hold 100 times or more their weight. Okay, so same thing. The darker the experiences that you've been through, the more light that you hold, right? So the more that you allow your innocence, in a sense, taste, hearing, touching, right? Smelling, seeing, sense, in a sense, we embody, okay, those realms within our innocence, and we manifest that into this reality. And that's more universes, more worlds, more realities, right? That is the new earth. We are bringing the internal planes, whatever yours looks like, because just like Asgard has many different layers, many different realms, just like Shambhala and Agartha and all these inner earth realm planes. They all have multiple realms. And what they're doing is as we live in our joy and we embody that and we co-create with others that are embodying it as well, we create worlds, new realities, and it'll pop up overnight. It will start happening overnight because we pull over 100 times our weight in manifestation, in creation. And the more we come together to co-create, the quicker we manifest these worlds that are already within us, where we came from, God's source worlds, into this reality. And it'll shift. And those that cannot create that, cannot find that source spark within themselves, then they will continue on the golden mean path, the golden path, until they figure out why they started this journey to begin with. Okay. So, other than that, that's all I got. Sensuality, sensual reality. I don't know, it's play on words. We are the land of the milk and the honey. Oh, that's the truth. Okay, so with the body, with the physical body, I got a piece of hair that keeps sticking to my face. So sorry. Because of the earth tectonic plates and the shifting, right? So South America and Africa were once connected. If you don't know that, then please look at the map and see the similarity in that, and where they cut. Okay? Yeah. Phew! Lots of information. Great live. Thank you. Please say this is recorded. It will be recorded. So the plates, so South America and Africa were the wings. Where are your wings, right? So they are the wings of the planet. And so when her wings were broken, right? Or we had the Atlantean fall, right? Yeah, you're going to have to really soak it all in. We had the Atlantean fall. That's when her wings were broken, right? So the wings were broken. And then where was the chest plate? Well, that would have to been North America was the chest plate. That's why it's the land of milk and honey. Milk, the mother's milk, the titties, the titties, okay? And that's the land of milk and honey. And the honey is the medicine. That's why the information's here first, because it's coming from the mother. It's coming from the milk, which is the medicine, the land of honey, which honey, Manuka honey, okay? Manuka honey is medicinal honey, which it's used to heal, okay? So the milk from the mother, which the breast is the breast is the North America, okay? And this is the land where we're fed the information, why it came in from Iyasha, which is the feminine, okay? Why she speaks the English, that's the language here, it's English. And it doesn't mean that if you don't know her material, you're not going to ascend. It has everything to do with your genetics and you working with, clearing out your shadow. You absolutely have to figure out what you are emotionally triggered by, why, and then love it. Love it back to wholeness. Love it back into you and why you experience that. It's not to blame anybody. It's not to shame anybody. It's not to hate your parents. It's not to have vengeance for another. Hey, thank you for joining. It is to love it. But I got 27, 6, 25. I want to say I love you guys, and this was a wonderful live. Thank you all for your presence, and I hope this sits with you well. Continue your studies and your journeys. Do you, boos. Until the next one.